So the exhibition we had last was Drawing as Discovery.
That exhibition was really highlighting Mag's permanent collection. This exhibition is on loan to us from the Smithsonian American Art Museum, and it features 18 paintings from their collection by Alma Thomas. There's a very different experience walking around this space.
Drawing as Discovery kept you closer to the work. These works are just so big.
We're giving room for people to view them from a distance, but then you can walk right up close to them as well and spend some time closely looking to understand how Alma Thomas painted these paintings. This will be medicine for Rochester in winter.
This show will be a salve to visitors over the winter months when it's dark and dreary.
It's color, it's light, it's beauty. Alma Thomas was born in 1891. She talked about when she was a young girl living in the South, not even being able to go into museums because of racial segregation. And then at the end of her life, having one-person exhibitions at the Whitney Museum of Art, at the Corcoran Gallery, that kind of arc of a life and how it ties in with American history, it's special. For 30 or so years, she was an art teacher in Washington, D.C. public schools. So she really taught generations of Black students. A lot of people look at retirement and think, well, now I'm done with the working life. Alma Thomas flipped that on its head, and she had her most productive, her most creative years at the end of her life.
She didn't start painting until she was retired. She talks a lot about her home/studio.
Ida Jervis, who was a photojournalist and one of Alma's friends, wrote this breathtakingly beautiful article called The Magic Windows of Alma Thomas. And so what guests will be able to look at is the tree that gave Alma her inspiration.
I looked at the tree in the window and that became my inspiration. That tree changed my whole career, my whole way of thinking. So we have an image of the tree through her window. I think it was really cool to kind of pull that into this creative space. So the show is comprised of 3 sections, and laying out those sections, we were thinking about what can we do to spread these works out on the exterior walls of the space. The works are quite large, so we wanted to give them ample space vertically. The last exhibition, there were so many walls that had to be taken down and put into storage. A few were put back, but not too many. Another thing you'll notice is where the color is. All of the works are on white, and the white is sort of an exterior to allow for the works to shine on their own. The color is mostly located in the center of the gallery. So throughout the exhibition, like you'll see on the title wall, there is a backdrop of Alma's work, but you'll see little other nods to her work as you go throughout. You'll see little splotches of paint that are actually pulled from a painting of hers, so it's a mark that she actually made, framing something that she actually said. It's very meditative. We want this to be an experience where you can kind of come in and you can be with the work.
The first grouping is space and sky. She really, in the 1960s, started this fascination with space and space exploration. For her, that love and inspiration that she found in trees and grass and flowers were mirrored in the love and excitement that she had for images around space and space exploration. So the eclipse was inspired by a total solar eclipse that happened, that was visible in Washington, D.C. in 1970. She's translating the experience of the solar eclipse. There was not rays of rainbow bright colors. What we're seeing is her interpretation maybe of the experience of having a solar eclipse. I think this painting is certainly one of the showstoppers. You get to see the choices that she's made over time. You get to see the confidence of her hand, right? So she clearly is a skilled painter who's been working with this medium throughout her life. There's just multiple ways in which you can kind of understand these paintings. One of the themes is music. So Alma Thomas throughout her life talked about how when she experienced nature, she heard music. She also was deeply connected to music when she was making her art. So she would listen to mixtapes, and there's a lot of documentation of her, the kind of music that she loved to listen to when she was painting.
There's not a painting that Alma created where she wasn't listening to music. She made mixtapes for herself, friends made mixtapes for her. One of her wishes was to have museum viewers actually be able to enjoy her paintings listening to the music that she listened to while she created it. This QR code is going to take you to MAG Rochester Spotify playlists, and we've created a few for you to be able to choose from. So first and foremost, you can listen to the songs that Thomas actually listened to, creating work specific to this exhibition. We've also been really inspired as a museum, just looking at her work and creating the show. So we have also created our own playlist for guests to enjoy. We're just really excited to be able to give guests a chance to experience the show how Alma wanted it to.
The third theme is Earth and the Seasons. What does winter feel like? What does spring smell like? What does summer feel like? All of those connections that she makes between different sensory inputs and just her appreciation for the natural world. This painting here, Snow Reflections on Pond, is from 1973. This painting so captures that sense of water moving under frozen ice in such a kind of elegant way. You sort of have those broken areas, right, which always stress me out when I see people out on the ice, and I'm like, don't you, like, there's water right there, what are you, crazy? We heard from a local private collector who said, hey, I have an Alma Thomas and I would love to lend it to the MAG for this exhibition. It's just a stunning painting, fantastic sunset from 1970. It is a part of the series of paintings that the artist made inspired by space. When we heard that there was an Alma Thomas for us to borrow for this exhibition, we were so surprised and pleased. There are not many Alma Thomas paintings. She was painting in the last years of her life. Her mature period was not an entire career full of painting, so it's remarkable for us to have a painting here in Rochester that we were able to have for just specifically the MAG venue. None of the other museums that have this exhibition will have this painting in it.
We were trying to create a space where people could sit and they could really take this in. There's a big carpet that you see here, which I hope will allow for an all-ages space where kids can be on the ground playing with some of these toys. Adults can be up here reading books. Maybe they can be reading books to their kids.
We see Alma's paintings as really, really like age-defying. If you're a person who loves color, you're gonna love the show. It could appeal to 3-year-olds, it could appeal to 108-year-olds. So one of the really great creative challenges we had was, how do we create a space for caregivers, for families, that can be kid-friendly, that can encourage kids to stop here and play and just have fun with color. We have a color wheel here, we have little wooden peg dolls that each have a different emotion to them. Are there any paintings in here that feel angry? Are there paintings in here that feel embarrassed? There are different ways that you can kind of engage our youngest guests without having to delve into art history and really just allow there to be connections with emotions, because it's really difficult to look at these paintings and not feel something.
This is our activity area for the Alma Thomas exhibition, and it also is a place for us to give a little extra context to Alma and about her life.
How do we give guests an experience of being able to play like Alma plays? We landed on a very old school kindergarten felt. Folks will be able to just come here and hopefully with friends and with strangers be able to play with color in the same way that Alma played with color. It has been a dream of mine to try to figure out how can we create a space for guests to contribute as a community to an ever-changing artwork that happens over time. So we went with color forms. Color forms are a toy that came out in the 1960s, I believe. And they are flexible pieces of vinyl, so very gallery appropriate. And over the course of the show, we want to invite guests to start contributing to an ever-changing artwork. Oops. Whoops. This specific puzzle is a 1,000-piece puzzle of the eclipse, which is right around the corner, and we're hoping that through the course of the show, guests will work together to complete it. This is your traditional coloring book table. This whole wall is magnetized, and our hope is this entire wall is just going to get filled with Almas, so it becomes our own mini Alma gallery made by the community. The museum is a space that can invite guests to kind of give their own ideas and answer and respond. We're asking guests to share what they need to create. And our hope at the end of it is that we will have a huge community creativity playlist. Could be songs, could be food, could be the right television show, could be the right setting. We're hoping that what we're gonna get back is a huge, huge wish list for what people need to create. That's a no-no. Don't put it here. This is why Travis put this very specific right arrow to the right.